hate the homies.
Yo, what up, baby? Holla at your boys. The homies. We actually got two homies this week. Welcome to the podcast. I hate the homies. Rock Teasies, who I BZ.
It's your boy SuperDave. Where's the other person?
The other homie, GRIFF, is actually in South Africa right now doing some things, man. So we're going to hold it down for the homie this week. He's having some technical difficulties with the internet out there. So it's all to the good. He'll be back on the next episode.
That's what he told you. That fool
You don't believe him?
That fool owed me $20.
That's right. That's right.
Who picked TCU?
Hey, we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into that. But you know what? You may have a point right there. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, you're right, man. Over $20.
GRIFF is running. GRIFF is running. GRIFF is running.
Now, that's
So
funny.
check this out.
Actually see him run. I want to see him run. Actually see him run it. I ain't never seen him run.
Like for real run. Like
For real
GRIFF,
run.
Can you run? There it is, man. So listen up, man. We can't go too far into the show without bringing up, of course, the homie Hamlin, man. Damar Hamlin, Buffalo Bills safety. Unless you've been up under a rock, you all know he's in critical condition right about now. He tackled a player, Cincinnati Bengal player, in Monday Night Football, and actually the receiver, as Hamlin was tackling the receiver actually initiated the blow right into his chest and his heart area.
A routine play.
A routine play. Wasn't a dirty play, wasn't a helmet-to-helmet play, and he had a cardiac arrest right there on the field. Now, at first, watching the game, it was like, okay, the dude passed out. That happens in football, especially when it's helmet-to-helmet contact, or maybe his head hit the ground, because this was still at the beginning. So if you're just sitting there watching it, okay, he kind of stumbled, passed out. Okay, yeah, he need to go to concussion protocol, but he didn't get up and he wasn't moving. So paramedics and the trainers came out on the field, and next thing you know, they're giving him CPR. So this was like, whoa, wait a minute. Long story short, you guys seen all the videos by now. They was able to resuscitate him, get his pulse back, and got him to the hospital. He's been in critical condition ever since. Now, here's the deal. He was out for 10 minutes.
10
minutes.
I didn't know that. 10 minutes.
He was out for 10 minutes, and we were talking to Dr. Collier, who's one of our amazing doctors that comes on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show all the time, and he was explaining that at the 6-minute mark is when the brain starts. If the brain is not getting oxygen for 6 minutes, that's when brain damage starts. Now, he was out for 10 minutes, allegedly. That's kind of what's in the stories right now. So all we can do, man, is just continue to pray for him, pray for his family. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He's not going to play football ever again. So that's kind of where we are. And here's my thoughts.
Were you actually watching the game during that time?
Yeah, I was watching, man. I just turned the game on like 2 plays before that play. Mm-hmm. And then that play happened. And I didn't turn my TV off until, man, it was after midnight, because I was trying to wait for the update. I was trying to wait to see, is he okay? But there was no updates. So I was getting worried. I was getting scared. I'm like, man, this is sad. I'm glad they called the game. I'm glad they said it was canceled. In my opinion, I think this whole next week should be canceled. I know it's the final week of the season. We're getting ready for the playoffs. But man, his well-being is way more important than any games. And I get it. Let's go play for Hamlin and all that kind of stuff, man. And I'll let you give me your thoughts, man. But in my opinion, I think they should pause the season for right now until further notice.
Okay, we'll get into the pause of season in a minute, because I got my opinion on that. But I didn't see it live. I fell asleep, I think at the beginning of the game, like a quick nap. And then I woke up around 9-something Central Time. Mm-hmm. And all I saw, because I wanted to get a quick score, because I think the last time I actually saw the score, on my phone, it was Cincinnati up 7-0. So I was like, okay, I'll catch the game in a minute. But when I woke up, all I saw was what was the dude that's on ESPN? But Ryan Clark was on. I forgot the guy's show, but on Sports Center, talking about what was going on. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute, what's up? What's up with this? I thought something. I was trying to figure out why they called the game or why they wasn't playing football at a particular time. And then they wouldn't show the video,
right?
Which I understand. They wouldn't show him just actually passing out. But all I saw was players crying, from Diggs to people on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So my heart started beating fast. So I was thinking, did something actually bad? I mean, you know, as far as death happen on the field, which I've never seen.
Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever seen it.
We saw something like Hank Gathers. You remember Hank Gathers in basketball?
Absolutely.
On the floor, but he had the heartbeat problem during that time.
Right.
But I've never seen anybody die on the football field. So my whole thought was, what's going on? Because guys are crying, they were huddling up. And then you had Ryan Clark and other players talking about what was going on. And then I don't know how they did this, because it was really no game going on. There was really nobody talking about or talking to any players at the particular time. It was Joe Buck talking about the situation. You had Lisa Salters. They did a great job, because I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could go with what's going
Adam
on
Scheffner
without knowing any information, because I think that's what we want to know, what was actually going on.
Because they didn't know either. They were just waiting. Him, Adam Scheffner and Booger, all of them, they were just waiting to find out an update. So they just kind of had to wing it and go live and just continue to talk. I've
never seen anything like that in my life, and I don't want to see that again. And the part what you brought up about him being out for 10 minutes, it just brought me up with my situation with my father. So why that stuff was going on, I remember I was trying to revive my father, who passed away like 5 years ago, and he was in my arms. And my mother called 911. I mean, I remember like it was yesterday, but she called 911, and I kind of already knew he was gone, because the situation was, by the time they got there, I saw his eyes roll back. If anything, if he would have survived, because your organs leave you for a second, right? They leave you for that amount of time, and then I don't know if you can ever come back from that.
Yeah, if you do, you will probably be in some sort of a vegetative state because your brain damage that you suffered. Man, my
heart started beating fast. I'm telling you, it took me back to my father, and I know right now he's still alive. He's in critical condition, and I'm praying for him, praying for his family. I would never want to see anybody go through that situation like that, but it's a scary situation.
Yeah, and I don't think he's breathing on his own yet. So what they did, they put him to sleep, so his body wouldn't, jump or shake or whatever, or go into any kind of convulsion. So they can put a breathing tube down his throat. So he's on a breathing machine right now, and they're praying and hoping that after so much time, they'll be able to challenge his body to see if his body can start breathing on its own. Man, this is tough. And I'm just going to be straight up honest, bro. I got a son. He's 13. Now, he's never was really excited about playing football, but I love football.
I do too.
My son, he loves baseball. I love baseball too. Whatever he wants to do, whatever all my kids want to do, I support him. But I love football, and I played football. And if he would have asked me, hey, Dad, can I try out and go play football? I probably would have said, yeah, man, let's go. But I'm glad he didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I love football, we're all guilty of saying that the game has gotten soft. Now, we do understand the head injuries and the concussions and the helmet to helmet. Those new rules, I'm all for those, because the brain, the head, don't want to mess with that. So we want to protect that as much as we can. But man, I'm gonna have to go ahead and backtrack my statement, bro. I mean, it's obvious football is a very violent sport. You got these athletes, these world-class athletes. They're bigger now. They're stronger now. They're faster now. And they're just coming full speed and running into each other. for 4 quarters every single week for 17 weeks plus preseason and not even the offseason. So I'm so glad that my son never came to me wanting to play football that on that serious level, because now, even if he did, I would have to say, bro, let's go get in some dope flag football leagues. Let's keep going with the baseball. If there's any other sports you want to play, let's do that. But
because of concussions or because of
all
what
of
happened?
all of it, because you can't, because this right here was the straw that will probably break the camel's back, because all the concussions that's been happening, all of the suicides that's been happening from former players that are still dealing with them head injuries. I mean, they're trying to cover it up a lot, but man, I don't know. I mean, and look at the players nowadays. The careers are getting shorter and shorter because they're going in there, they're getting the opportunity to play, they get in the bag to take care of their family, set their family up for life, and they're, man, between 5 and 8 years, they're out of there. And I don't blame them.
But Rock, I understand what you're saying. I would give you a lot more on a concussion and what guys go through once they leave football. But that was a routine play yesterday. You don't see that happen a lot. I've never seen it happen. It was a freak accident. It really was.
Listen to this, bro. These are world-class athletes. These athletes are in the best shape of any human being. Our professional athletes are in the best shape of anybody. And this is happening to them. I mean, we would love to sit up there and say that they're bulletproof and they can sustain all of this. And I know I know that play was a freak play, and that one that's never been seen before. I get all of that. But there's other injuries that lead to stuff. There's so much going on, and there's going to be more that's going to be coming out after this. I guarantee you, just like the concussion situation, the movie that Will Smith made. There's a lot of doctors and trainers that didn't want that movie to come out. They were trying to ban it because they didn't want to release all the secrets and everything. Look what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback with Miami. I don't care what nobody say, man. He shouldn't be playing this year. He should still not be playing this year, in my opinion. So, will they continue the season? Probably so, because there's only 1 week left. But I personally think that it should be put on pause for now. What's your thoughts?
They should have ended the game yesterday. I think what they did yesterday was right, postpone the game. But you got to remember this, and I understand what you're saying about Hamlin, but at the end of the day, what happened 9/11? They played football the following week, right? Look at all the lives that was lost doing it. It wasn't on the field, of course, but it was a national disaster during that time. You remember that?
Oh,
they
yeah.
Still played football because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be entertainment for people. We're talking about one team, one guy, and we're praying for this guy. I think for anything, the guys on that field will have a harder time playing next week, which is Cincinnati and Buffalo, because they actually experience it. All the other teams won't. I mean, they're all a brotherhood, but they're not on the field together. Those guys are on the field. They saw exactly. When you see a guy getting CPR on the football field, that changes everything. They may have mental issues after this.
I agree, but I disagree at the same time. Yes.
9/11,
will Cincinnati and Buffalo Bill players on those two teams be mentally and emotionally not checked in if they decided to play this next week? Absolutely. But you can't say that the rest of the teams won't be. This is a brotherhood, bro. I get it. On Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays, when these games, okay, I don't like you today because you're the enemy today. We playing this game, whatever. But off the field, this is a brotherhood. This is their homies, man. This is their brothers. So this could happen to them. So I'm sure that's going on in their head. Like, man, if that can happen to him, it can happen to me because I'm playing the same sport. So you don't go so far and say that all the other teams can still play because they're not going to be as bothered. They won't. Come on, man. I think they're going to be just as bothered as Cincinnati and Buffalo.
I'm not saying they won't be bothered. All I'm saying is you continue to play the games. I'm saying for Cincinnati and Buffalo, it might be a harder situation to get them to play. But I'm saying other teams, again, they played after 9/11. They played during that time. Look at all the lives that were lost during that time. You remember that situation back then?
Oh yeah,
And they still played football. At the end of the day, still played football. The games went on.
I think they should take at least a week off, possibly two, just and wait to see what's going on with Damar Hamlin. You know, that's the least that the NFL could do. Let's wait and see if this brother recovers. And then we can, because it's bigger than football, bro. It's bigger than the game. I get it. Playoffs right around the corner. I get it. Hey, let's use this as motivation to go out and play for tomorrow. I get all that. But nah, bro. In my opinion, nah. I say we're going to continue to put this season on pause. I'm not saying cancel it yet. I'm just saying just put it on pause for right now until our brother Hamlin, we find out what's going to happen with him. And then you come back and make some sort of announcement about, do you continue to play or not? Now, is NFL football going to be canceled forever? Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. I'm just saying at this moment in time, it should be put on pause until further notice.
I think the incredible thing, I don't think it should be put on pause, but the incredible thing that this guy, he's 24 years old. He went to Pitt, right? He went to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yeah, and he started a foundation in 2020. And during that time, he was just trying to raise a GoFundMe page and raise $2,500 during that time. $2,500. From that point in 2020 to a couple of days ago, he raised $2,921 during that time. So he got the $2,500. Since the incident yesterday, for his it's the Chasing M's Foundation that he started to help kids in this community. That's his whole part about helping the kids. They raised $5 million, and it's continuing to grow.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
That's how you show that family, how you show him support, and that's why you still play the games. I don't know what you do with Cincinnati and Buffalo, but at the end of the day, football will go on this Saturday and Sunday. I don't think they cancel any football games. I know what you said they should, but they won't. At the end of the day, the business had to keep going. We don't stop our lives when somebody pass away, right? And we ain't saying he's gone, but I'm saying when something happens, you keep moving. And that's what the NFL is going to keep. They're going to continue to move. All I'm saying is it might be harder for those guys on the Bengals and the Buffalo Bills to deal with this situation. I'm not saying any other team and other players, but they were there and they saw what went on that field. And that if I was on that field, it would blow my mind to see a guy get CPR and how quickly things can change. That was a big game that night between Cincinnati and Buffalo. And things change real quick. And it's unbelievable.
Well, so our thoughts and prayers are going to continue to go out for our brother Hamlin, and we wish him a full recovery day by day, my brother. So let's talk about some of these other NFL games, since we're talking about the NFL, since you think it's going to continue to move forward. And if so, the Philadelphia Eagles, quietly, the Philadelphia Eagles has lost 2 in a row. Now, I get it. Their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is hurt. No pun intended. So a lot of people are saying it doesn't count. It does count. It is. That's what you have backups for. Go tell that to Tom Brady when he was a backup. So, it is what it is. I mean, they still going to win a division, or are they? I mean, the Cowboys, your Dallas Cowboys, are making a huge statement, and they can sneak in and just kind of snap that doggone division because they got to play again.
I don't trust them. Did you see them play Tennessee? Where Tennessee didn't have Derrick Henry, didn't have their starting quarterback, and the Cowboys still somehow made that a game against the Tennessee Titans.
Say what you want to say about. Man, Tennessee is still a solid team. Now they haven't had the best season, but Tennessee is still a solid team.
You take away their top running back, you take away their quarterback. You're going with Dobbs, a guy who's making his first start, and the Cowboys couldn't put pressure on this guy. The Cowboys defense, and if that's the case, the last 2 weeks with the Cowboys defense, the way they played against Philadelphia Philadelphia was driving the ball down the field. They made Minshew look really good against the Cowboys. And Dobbs did his thing against the Cowboys. I mean, they didn't have that many points, but the bottom line was the game was close.
Listen,
the Cowboys got to learn how to put teams away, all teams away.
At the end of the day,
it's hard for me to get locked in on the Cowboys right now.
At the end of the day, it's the NFL, bro. Even the weaker teams in the NFL is still top athletes playing at a high level any given Sunday.
But
any given Sunday.
It was an ugly game. You know,
it's a win. I know, but it's like, man, listen, at this point of the season, I'll take a win. I don't care if it's an ugly win every single week. Ask doggone New England Patriots. All of their wins this year have been ugly. So listen, that's part of it. I'll take it all day long, man. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like this stretch of that NFC conference, man. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice.
And see, the worst part for the Eagles, they started off so hot, and they didn't have any injuries, major injuries during the first 8 weeks of the season. But then you get to the tail end of the season, you start seeing players go down. The 49ers had theirs at the beginning, and now they're on the roll. The Cowboys had their spots, losing Dak at the beginning of the season. I always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely.
And I think the Eagles right now are in a different situation because that defense also is giving up points. They made the Cowboys look great. The Cowboys had over 300-something yards passing in that game.
Well, the sports genius,
okay, here we go,
has always said that, hey, I love what Philly is doing. I love what Jalen Hurts is doing. I hope he wins the MVP, all of that. But I still got them, being eliminated probably in the second round of the playoffs. I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. I've been saying that since they was 9-0. And I said it right here on this podcast.
Well, the Cowboys have a shot for that division. That if they win the division, if they beat Washington on Sunday in D.C., Philadelphia loses to the Giants, and the Giants are in the playoffs now. They clinched the playoff spot.
Absolutely.
I never saw that one coming. I really didn't.
Well,
but they're in the playoffs now.
Yeah, because the rest of the NFC is boo boo.
So what we're talking about, you want to go and throw it in there. It's the Washington Commanders, and who did Ron Rivera start this past weekend? Your guy, out of nowhere.
He ain't my guy. Stop going so far with it. I said was,
your guy. You're the genius, right?
All I said was Carson Wentz was going to have one of the better years of his career for Carson Wentz. That's all I said. Then he got hurt. Then he came in that last week and
he showed you what he could do last week because he was awful last week.
He was terrible. He was terrible. But you know who was not terrible? My Detroit Lions. Come on, baby. Here's the frustrating thing about being a Lions fan. They go out and do what they did this past week. And then last week, they act like they ain't ever played football before.
They lost to the Panthers. The Panthers ran all over them.
I'm like, bro, y'all got all this momentum going, but goes back to my point. Any given Sunday, you never know. You never know. But we still got hope, and we still got an opportunity to slide in the back door. And don't
say back door. Don't say slide and go to the back door. Don't do that.
That is a man law violation.
Yeah, that's a man law violation, man. Don't do that.
But we have an opportunity to get into the doggone playoffs. Let's just be straight up honest.
But you need help.
Oh yeah. But when we get in, because we getting in. When we get in, you talking about a team that's hot. Even though we lost to the Panthers, man, we still hot. Was that what 6 out of the last 8 games they won?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And NFL moved that game to the night game on Sunday night.
Come on, man. Nobody wanted
Green Bay and Detroit in Green Bay on a cold night. If Green Bay wins, I never saw this one coming. That's why the Cowboys should have put Green Bay away because they don't want to see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. If Green Bay wins, they're in the playoffs. Right now, Seattle holds that last spot, but they have the better conference record. Green Bay does. So it would knock Seattle out. Detroit would be out anyway. Detroit needs help. If they beat Green Bay, they need Seattle and some other stuff to happen for them to get to the playoffs.
We getting in, baby. We getting in. But how about Tom Brady clinched his spot in the playoffs?
That's why I don't want to play them. That's why I'm the Cowboy fan. I do not want to play them. And right now, the Cowboys would see them right now. I don't trust the Cowboys against Tom Brady. You saw what he did last week.
He put 41 up.
They're still a bad team. They're a bad team.
Listen.
But Brady can get hot and Mike Evans can get hot and they can start slinging that ball down the field. They have no running game, but against the Cowboys, they'll make Leonard Fournette look like he was a young Leonard Fournette back in the day at LSU. That's the bad part about the Cowboys.
Come on, dog. Tom Brady in the playoffs. You can forget about the raggedy season the Buccaneers had this year. You can throw out the down season that Brady had this year. You can throw out his age. I know he's getting older. He ain't the same that he used to be, but he's still Tom freaking Brady in the playoffs. You don't want to see that.
I agree with you, but here's your pick your poison. Do the Cowboys want to see Aaron Rodgers, who owns them at Cowboy Stadium and owns them, period? Or do you want to see Tom Brady, who also owns you? I think the worst team right now, the worst team that you want to play is Tom Brady and the Bucs, because I think the Bucs are still a big question mark. If you can get them off their game, you can beat them. But Green Bay, they're dangerous because they're also getting turnovers on defense now. It changed. Everything changed for them over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
How about the Kansas City Chiefs? Now the situation that's going on, like I picked Buffalo to win the whole thing. A lot of people picked Buffalo to win the Super Bowl to represent the AFC. But now with this unfortunate situation, Kansas City may take the front seat. You know, I mean, it's still Kansas City. It's still Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. What you think?
But that's why they got to play the game. That's why they got to still play that Buffalo. That's how important that game was. I understand the situation, what happened at the game, but that's what made it a big game because it meant a lot for Cincinnati and Buffalo. And I don't know how you go without now. You cannot go without playing this game because it means so much to teams moving up and moving back in that conference. Buffalo right now holds that top seed, but Cincinnati, if they win, they got a shot. So you got to play that game. Kansas City is going to be where they are, but Kansas City that's a dangerous team. And right now, Pat Mahomes is your MVP because Jalen Hurts missed the last 2 weeks of the season.
That's a good point. But Jalen Hurts got some numbers though, bro. He got some numbers.
No, but he doesn't have Pat Mahomes numbers.
So Jacksonville, they snuck in, right? Did they clinch yet?
No, they clinch. No, they have the showdown with the Titans.
So they got to win that game.
They got to win that game.
To win
the division.
You sure Jacksonville didn't sneak in already?
They got to win the division.
That's another team that you don't want because that's a team you just don't know which version going to show up. Because I'm not all the way impressed with Jacksonville, but something about them is something a little scary about that doggone team, man. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
Well, they played the Cowboys 3 weeks ago, and the Cowboys made them to a great team. Now they feel like they're confident. They feel great. Cowboys make them look good.
They've had a couple games.
Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, but the Cowboys made them look great. They really did.
They've had a couple good games this season that teams they weren't supposed to beat, they beat. And they've done that a few times. So just look out for Jacksonville, man. If they got to win to get in, it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to find out.
I'm ready for playoff football. I know this last week means a lot for a lot of teams with the Cowboys, with the Eagles, with the AFC, and with Cincinnati and Buffalo. Some of those, those games are important. I'm just ready for playoff football. I really am.
All right, so listen, I'm gonna give you your props. You know, me and Griff said Michigan was gonna beat TCU. You was the only one out of us three that said TCU gonna win. So I'm propping you up on that one right there. But let's talk about that game, bro. Yo, even though I thought Michigan was gonna win, TCU, man, they said, listen, I know y'all are considered a heavyweight and we a cruiserweight according to the press and according to the public, but let me show you what we do. Bro, every blow, they was throwing the blows and Michigan had to get up. Like they was putting Michigan on a canvas. Then they had to get up and keep fighting back. It wasn't the other way around. Like they controlled that game from the kickoff. And I was like, just when you think or thought that Michigan was like, okay, Michigan finna get ready to start, maybe distancing themselves a little bit. Man, TCU came back down like within matter of 3-4 plays, touchdown. Like, yo, man, I can't even sit up here and say that Georgia is this going to be like a guaranteed win for Georgia, man. TCU look freaking good.
We don't want you on this bandwagon. You were on it, and then you jumped off.
I never jumped off. I never jumped off.
Wow. You went for Michigan. That's jumping off.
That ain't jumping off. That's just giving an opinion on who I thought was going to win the game. But I've been riding with TCU from day one.
You jumped off. That was your mistake.
No, I didn't jump off. A bandwagon isn't. Listen, what do you always say about a Cowboy fan? This is your word, SuperDave. You're always the one saying, hey, just because I'm a Cowboy fan, I got enough common sense to realize they're not going to win every game every week, but you're still a Cowboy fan. So I've been riding for TCU. I've been telling everybody about TCU from day one, including you and Griff. I just made an opinion that I figured Michigan was going to win that game. But don't dismiss the bandwagon that I've been on with TCU from day one, bro. Come on, son.
We don't want your kind on this bandwagon, on this TCU, because you were there. And yes, you convinced me during the regular season.
Come on, man.
I watched them, and they grew on me. I mean, they have a defensive line. They have an offensive line. They got a hell of a running game because when Miller went out, they started running back. They brought the backup in. That dude won against Michigan.
That dude was nasty. I'm like,
they are nasty.
Where'd he come from?
Max Duggan. Come on, man.
So who you got winning the game?
What if Griff called him for like 8 weeks? Max Dugan?
Yeah.
I text Griff over the weekend. I bet you know his name now.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Make him remember your name. I always tell my kids, make them remember your name.
I bet you remember that name now. And what did he say? He said, we're going to dust TCU because he's looking at what Michigan, the name Michigan.
Right.
Michigan has lost 5 straight bowl games under Jim Harbaugh. 5. And that's including last season when they looked bad against who? Against Georgia.
Who winning the game, TCU or Georgia?
Well, let's get into Georgia first. Let's get into Georgia game because I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, you talking about Georgia, Ohio State?
Yeah, against Ohio State. I was surprised by this game. I thought Georgia had a chance to run away. I thought they were going to run away against Ohio State because I didn't think Ohio State should have been there. But Georgia got lucky the same way they did against Alabama last year in the national championship game. When Marvin Harrison Jr. went out the game with the concussion, it changed the entire game because he was eating their lunch on that defensive side. They secondary, TCU got a chance to do some damage against that secondary. You can throw the ball. And I think Max Duggan is a better runner than C.J. Stroud. He is a better runner than C.J. Stroud. I mean, C.J. Stroud had some great numbers against Georgia. I think TCU can do the same thing. I know what Georgia is. I know they got a defense. That secondary is a big question mark. And Bennett, the quarterback for Georgia, if he doesn't play within the system, you can get turnovers off of him. That's the difference.
So who you picking?
I like TCU. TCU will upset Georgia in the national championship game.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, bro.
Here we go.
Let me tell you something, my man.
Wait, letting you back on. You're not getting on.
First of all, it ain't gonna be no upset. TCU gonna win the game.
Oh, now they're gonna lose because now you jump. Oh my God.
It ain't gonna be no upset. So I don't know why. If you ain't convinced the way they handled Michigan by now,
what we're gonna do.
Listen, it ain't gonna be no upset. This is I don't know what the Vegas odds are. I don't know what they got. I'm sure they got Georgia as a favorite, but it should be even. Like at the end of the day, you got to throw that whole SEC and TCU being Cinderella. Throw that out the door. TCU is not a Cinderella team no more. They was at the early of the season when they first started getting recognized and in the top 10 and in the top 4 and all that. But nah, man, that's a bona fide grown man team, and TCU gonna win. And I think they're gonna win. I want to be careful about. I don't want to say easy.
Don't do this, man.
I don't want to use the word easy.
It's
not gonna be no. Oh, Georgia get the ball last, and he gonna go down there and try to score a touchdown or kick a field goal to win. I think they're gonna win by at least 10 to 13. TCU. There it is. I have spoken.
Why would you do this to these kids out there? You jumping on the bandwagon. Now you're going to destroy what they put together because now you want to jump on board. You were all on board on Michigan last week on that name of Michigan. TCU, you got to give Gary I'm not taking anything from Dykes, but the bottom line is it started with Gary Patterson.
He built that powerhouse. Absolutely.
He built a defense. He built something at TCU. And these guys, when you saw them play Michigan, the one thing I told you they could do, they could hit. And they are the best team in the Big 12 to actually hit people. They play physical football.
Absolutely. And they got some dog wide receivers too. So
yeah, please, yes.
Listen, man, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be exciting to watch. And but I think TCU is gonna, I agree, they're gonna win the game, but it's not gonna be as close as everybody thinks it may be. They're gonna shake up the world, bro, and win and be national champions. Let's go. Let's go, Horned Frogs.
I agree with you on one thing. It's not gonna be an upset. Because I think once you get to the championship game, I think it's even ground. Just like Georgia against Alabama last year. You can't say it's an upset. The bottom line is the two best teams in college football. Right now, you're looking at the two best teams in college football who played out. TCU has been great all year. You can say they lost to Kansas State, but that was a conference game. Kansas State is always going to be dangerous against teams like Oklahoma, Texas, and TCU. But they found a way to rebound, and they find themselves in the championship game. And they look good starting off. You gotta admit that. I know you started off by saying that, but the first 2 quarters, it was TCU they were putting it to Michigan. And I think they can do the same thing against Georgia.
There it is, man. We about to find out. It's about to go down. So on that note, man, hey, appreciate the homies checking into I Hate the Homies podcast. Hey, shout out to the GRIFF. He's the third homie. And he was, if you guys just tuning in, this your first episode watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. He's in South Africa right now, getting the business down.
He owes me $20. He's running.
He did. So according to SuperDave, GRIFF is running from him because he owed him some money. So we don't know. Maybe he'll be back next week. Maybe not. It's all to the good. But my name is Rock Teasy, and I hate the homies.
And it's your boy SuperDave. But guess what?
We don't care. There it is, man.
I want my $20.
Download, subscribe, go tell a friend to tell a friend. Keep the 5-star reviews coming. We appreciate you guys, man. I hate the homies. Deuces, we out. Doggo!
I hate the homies.